My name is Noah Boudolf. I'm a freshman at Clemson University, which I guess that feels a bit weird to say, having only been a few months. But to give some background, my father is David Boudolf, who's the director of youth ministry here, and I've attended John Wesley for the last 15 years, and today I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to share my testimony. If I were to have given my testimony a few months ago, when Pastor Ken had initially asked me to, I think it would have been very different. But now I'm up here today with a newly given perspective from some changes in my faith journey. Before I get into those, though, I'd like to give some context and some background on my upbringing in this church. My experience within the community of this church began as early as I was able to participate in events here, such as Kids Ways to Praise and Vacation Bible School. Throughout middle and high school, it evolved into going on retreats and mission trips, such as Benchwarmers, Salkehatchie, and a mission trip a summer ago to the Bahamas. Then, I was given opportunities to help lead youth as a young adult this summer on Benchwarmers and at Salkehatchie. One aspect of the church that I always enjoyed, but think I took for granted, was all the members of the congregation. Being able to have the community of faith provided by the church gave me connections to help both in my personal life and in my faith journey. With a variety of members of the congregation, I feel like I always have someone I can look to for guidance, regardless of the situation. This congregation has repeatedly given to me in so many ways, and over the years, I enjoyed learning on Wednesday nights in choir and handbells with Miss Margaret and Miss Hope. I also enjoyed having small groups weekly on Sunday nights with Rick, Sam, and Jeff, and having the support and the connection with older members in this congregation was also something that was very important and special to me. I'd especially like to look back on the fond memories of talking St. Louis Cardinals baseball with Dr. John Smith. But in the last few months, I found myself in a major point of transition in my life. The build-up and action of moving off to college has been the most significant and nerve-wracking experience I have ever had to experience. Going into a totally new environment and having limited knowledge of what to expect was mentally very challenging. Previously, in any stage of transition in my life, I always knew that feeling at home in this church was a given. This gave me the ability to center myself and reflect on my faith each week, regardless of what had happened. I had no idea if I would be able to find a place like that that gave me the same feeling off at college in Clemson. If I'd given this testimony before moving off to college, I most likely would have talked about my experiences in service through this church and how they have changed my life. While I'm eternally grateful for the ways in which I've been able to serve through my faith journey, today I want to focus on my community of faith and how it has evolved. I knew I wanted to find a place with the same community as in this church and somewhere I could go to take off the stress of adjusting to college life. I know that so many believers have a difficult time maintaining their level of faith throughout college, and I did not want to fall into that same boat. I'd been exposed to the idea of Wesley Methodist Campus Ministries, mostly from John Sterling Poole, the director of Charleston Wesley, and someone who's had a great impact on my faith journey, starting at Salkehatchie about 5 years ago. Then, per the connections from Copeland Johnson, Callie Costa, and Miss Brenda Glaze, who's a former member of this congregation, I was introduced to Clemson Wesley. Specifically, I was first introduced to Steve Semino, the director of Clemson Wesley, who turned out to be one of my professors. He teaches my class of the very rigorous leisure skill of Frisbee sports. I don't think I knew that someone could teach me so much about how to throw a circular piece of plastic 50 yards and help guide me in my faith in the course of the same week. I immediately knew from the first night of worship at Clemson's beautiful Calden Chapel that this was the right place for me. I saw that many members of this new community had their faith strengthened rather than strained throughout college. Being able to attend weekly worship has given me a place to relieve myself of the stresses that I have found from school. It has also introduced me to an entirely new community that has so many welcoming and special people just like this church. The goals, aspirations, and intellect of the members of Clemson Wesley have been nothing short of special and inspiring. I will always be grateful for this congregation that was able to lead me through the start of my faith journey. I also now have been given another special step in this journey through Clemson Wesley, which excites me. While I've had to step out into an unfamiliar environment for the first time on my own in my faith journey, I found another community of faith that was very strong. I feel excited that I have both a community there and, as always, here anytime I'm back in this sanctuary. And I will always be here whenever I'm home from school. I want to thank Pastor Ken for encouraging me to share my testimony. And even though I didn't know how this would look, I believe that this timing goes to show another example of how God's plan has worked in my life. Thank you.